Well, I didn't mean for it to, but this YouTube thing's becoming kind of my video journal. But I'm heading back to the airstrip. I'm definitely not gonna fly. Of course, I've said that many other times and ended up in the air. Oh, hey, new people here. I don't know what's going on. I know they're not having a fly-in. Not that I heard about. Bunch of trailers though. Well, this is one of the nice things about PA01 is if you want to have a fly-in, you call your buddies up and you just have a fly-in. And I guess they got to fly last night quite a bit. Got to go up this morning quite a bit. It's kind of breezy now. These are all PPG guys. PPCs, I don't know which. But there you go. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna lower my angle of incidence on my horizontal stabilizer, and to do this I'm just going to take this spacer on the bottom side and cut about 1/4 of an inch off of it. We'll test that first. Now that 1/4 inch I cut off of it has to be brought up here and put on the top here underneath that one, or I have to get a shorter bolt, one of the two. So my right side, my left side are just identical, the same height. I got them perfect. So go ahead and put them back on. And I don't know that I can test fly it today. We'll see. The other thing I want to do is to put a trim tab right here on the elevator, because in all of my chair flying scenarios, there's one that there's no getting away from, and that is just my elevator's own weight. 50 miles an hour is not enough to hold this elevator up. So I'm going to put a trim tab. So if this came disconnected somehow, my elevator came disconnected here or up front some way, you can't just give full throttle and hope the airflow will keep the elevator up and that you'll stay elevated. My airplane will do a nosedive. I've proven that. I've let go of the stick and my elevator just drops right down. So maybe lowering the horizontal stabilizer will help with that, but I need to get a trim tab on here so that in that scenario I at least have some hope. So I didn't really get a reply on what most people would suggest for a trim tab, so I put one on there that's about a little over 6 inches wide, and well, the full length is 2.5 inches, so we'll give that a shot. It's not rotated down a whole lot. Let's see, a little bit. We'll start there. I'm actually a little apprehensive to pull it out of the hangar right now because while it's real light breezes, the gusts are pretty abrupt and rather strong, so I might not even be pulling it out of the hangar, but tonight is supposed to be real nice. Maybe I'll come back. Yeah, it's getting pretty breezy, so I stepped over to the FP101 that I've been trying to not restore, just rebuild and get back into shape. And it's ready for an engine run. And first thing I'm going to do is, tank's been empty for quite a while, dry, and but it's a good, rather sealed tank. I don't think anything could have gotten in it. But at any rate, the first thing I'm going to do is, oh, he left me gas. Good. Now this is a 440A, so this mixture is 32-to-1, so he wanted to mix it himself. But first thing I'm going to do is inspect the fuel tank mounts. Make sure it's going to hold up. You know, there's a lot of bouncing around on that taxiway and on a landing. You don't want that fuel tank dropping out of there. But I still have to do a thorough inspection of the entire airplane, so I'm going to do that real quick. Well, that gusset is actually sliced. The beam is sliced, and that gusset goes into it. That adds to it quite a bit. And up there, it's gusseted into like a geodetic slot. So that's good sturdy tank support. I would say that's good. That firewall is really beefed up. They put a bunch of Gorilla Glue in for foam or for the dampening effect. I can see the T88 underneath it, so I verified that's got T88 under it. You never want to use Gorilla Glue. I know, because one person on one wing that I was restoring tried Gorilla Glue, and every single joint that had Gorilla Glue separated. They did have T88. I don't understand what they were doing. There was T88 in a lot of the places, all the main places, but all of the geodetic crisscrosses, all Gorilla Glue and all separated. I don't necessarily like the way the entire fuselage is closed off by this here piece of plywood, and it looks like it's 1/8 inch. That's pretty heavy. And see if I can see back in there somewhat. Luckily there's a bunch of inspection holes. Well, I actually can see pretty good. I actually can see fairly well. As long as it doesn't lose focus. So I'm using two things. I'm using a bore scope. It's a cheap little one, and I'm also using a headlamp oh, that's what I'm seeing. I just like, is my camera's light on. It's my headlamp, and I got it right down over my brow, so I can use it to look in there pretty well and see pretty well. I'll use a bore scope for tight little areas, like maybe getting down into the tail area where I really want to inspect it well. I'm actually quite surprised I did not find a single piece of broken geodetic. I think I will get some tape right up there. That one, none of that tape's broken too, or ripped off too. So probably needs a good bath, but right now I think I'm just going to go out and see if I can get the engine running, and probably just put maybe half that tank of gas in. I didn't think this little spout would cut it, trying to pour it into the tank, and not only that, it leaked around here when I tried, so figured I'd pour it into mine, and I'm glad I did, because as soon as I started pouring it in, discover flies and bugs in the fuel. He's kind of particular about the fuel. That's why he got it himself. But anyways, we'll get it out of there. So if you do get flies or bugs down in this here little handy dandy filter that they give you, the only way to get them out is actually you've got to pry in on the sides and reach down right, well, it'll be straight like this. It'll be straight like that, straight front and back. But you got to pry this way, and there's a little white plastic tab on the back side and the front side. You got to reach down with a knife and cut them off. Once you cut them off, then it'll pop out and you can clean it. Otherwise, your bugs are stuck in there forever until you pour it into your tank. Then the bugs will definitely come out into your tank. Well, I'm leaving the airport now and going through the metropolis of Linesville, and I forgot to record anything else. We could not get the FP101 started, so I just got my plane out, and it sounded okay, so I flew it. I went up and did full stop landings twice. Sounded pretty good. Sorry about that. Sounded pretty good, but it does still have a unique sound to it that I'm not used to. It might be the exhaust is what I'm thinking. And so yeah, and it's real windy right now, so I got my first real windy day to fly today, and I got some practice. My landings were not as good as they have been, and because of the windy day. So And that's my friend in New York texting me. Pretty soon, all of these beautiful landing strips are going to be covered with corn. Now here's the metropolis of the town that's closest to me. This is called Harmonsburg, and that's it. Well, I met some really nice people today. They came all the way up from Columbus just to help me out with my airplanes. Not really, I mean, they had some good flying time, but they had to shut down in the middle of the day because they're flying PPGs and PPCs. So but they helped me with my engine. Well, they tried to help me with the FP101, and we could not get the FP101 started. So we just took my FP202 and I got to fly it. Went up a few times. That was nice. And a very windy day.